all. Welcome everyone to the community conversation session of our Foundations of Social Isolation training series. We are excited to bring the experts to you as we dive into storytelling as a tool for student agency. My name is Frederick. My pronouns are they, them in English and lay and a in Spanish, and I am Beyond Difference's Professional Development Program Manager. Beyond Differences is a national nonprofit organization whose mission is to empower students to end social isolation and create cultures of belonging. And I am thrilled to introduce y'all to Isis Clay. Isis, thank you so much for being here with us today. Isis Clay is a distinguished educator, theater magic maker, and nationally sought after keynote speaker. Through her residencies and professional development series, Isis provides creative and transformative emotional resilience support for schools, leading to an increase in teacher satisfaction, retention, and student engagement. Who doesn't want that? You can find out more about Isis at sculptedclayproductions.com. Isis, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, Frederick. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here and excited
So
to talk about this. This is great.
it's always a joy to see you. So our goal with this storytelling our goal with this storytelling section is to build student agency and create cultures of belonging. And so we wanted to talk with different practitioners and organizations in the field of storytelling to learn more about how we can use storytelling to build student agency, to end social isolation, and create cultures of belonging. So this is an opportunity for us to learn from you and also to spotlight the work that you are doing and to share it with our community. So to start with, I would love for you to share a little bit about your work and your connection to storytelling and or the storytelling space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you gave a beautiful introduction to the work that I do. But in a nutshell, it's really about emotional resilience for not just educators, but students as well. I am a theater practitioner. You said that as well. And I use that and I call on that a lot in my work with both students and educators. One of the things that I have been offering to schools is a residency specifically for students around devised theater and boosting their voice around things that are happening to them in their world. And I always am so, I don't know if delighted is the word. That sounds really lofty, but I always, my heart is always full when I offer this residency and I see students and I hear what they have to say. I think that by offering them a space, a safe space to tell their stories, we get a glimpse into not just their thoughts, but also a glimpse into their struggles. And they're brilliant. They are brilliant. Every residency I offer Frederick, I leave and I look at the teachers and I'm like, your students are brilliant. Like, wow, I'm blown away. Not just the content that they deliver, but it gives them an opportunity, especially through devised theater, it gives them an opportunity to show their empathy towards each other. And I work mostly with teenagers, usually seventh grade, which isn't quite teenagers, but seventh grade through 12th when I do these residencies. And teenagers can get a bad rap, they can get a bad rap. But it always brings such joy to my heart when I see them supporting each other. And through storytelling, this actually is a way that they can show that. They show that every time.
Oh, I love that. And I 100% agree. The brilliance of students always kind of blows me away. I'm like, wow, I don't think I was that smart when I was your age.
That's smart,
So,
that connected, that, and not just connected to, what's around them, in their communities, but connected to the world. And social media, of course, adds to that. But I feel like they have an understanding of the world now that I didn't. And it's like,
absolutely. Absolutely. So, can you tell us a little bit more about what devised theater is for those of us like myself who aren't familiar with it, and share some examples of how storytelling through devised theater inspires students to connect with their peers, build empathy, and, like you said, navigate social isolation as well.
Yeah. So devised theater is a type of theater where there's no script, there's no director, there aren't any actors. Let me rephrase this. Devised theater is where a group of people come into a space and there isn't a person who is designated as the director. There's not a person who's designated as the playwright. As a company or as a group, we come into the space to explore a topic. And that topic is based off of really what the group wants to explore. So recently, I did a residency in Charles County Public Schools here in Maryland, and the students were put in groups of 6, and it was maybe about 8 groups, and each group went through a process of looking at what's important to them right now. What is something that's happening in their life that they have something to say about? And whether that is technology, whether that is social isolation, whether that's bullying, whether that is, the trends of the day. I think one of them had like TikTok trends was their focus. Um, but they get an opportunity to explore something that's important to them through theater. And so what happens in a devised theater residency is they look at that topic. They do quick writes, they write stories around that topic. They do improv sessions around that topic. And then they choose things that really resonated and they put all of those things together to create a performance where everyone in the group performs. So again, you don't have those typical, I'm the director, I'm the playwright, I'm the designer. Everyone has ideas that are put into the pot. And so I love using devised theater because of that communal aspect where students get an opportunity and are encouraged by their peers to speak up. One of the things when I start the residency is, I impart upon them, everyone has a voice. Even if your voice shakes, or even if your voice is small, you still have a very important voice. And in order for this piece to really work, we need your brilliance as well. And I leave it at that and I walk away. And it's always amazing as I'm walking around and watching the interaction, how the students encourage each other. They take that to heart, but I think it's already there, that wanting their peers to share in this experience with them. So that is what devised theater does. As far as, again, connecting with peers, it's brilliant to watch. The residency that I was just telling you about in Charles County, the students came from all across the county, and so they weren't necessarily in groups with their friends or people that they knew. And we tried actually to minimize that, because we wanted to see this opportunity or them to have this opportunity to work with different people and to see what that felt like and not their peers that they see every day. And there's always a hesitancy in the beginning because it's like, you're a stranger, I don't know. There's always at least one or two that's just like the most outgoing person in the world. And they're just like, hey, but then there's always, in almost every group, there's the reluctant one. There's the one that's like, I'm a little nervous. This process not only helps them feel comfortable with their peers, you see this confidence grow in themselves as they'll share something and their peers will go, yes, and they're building on ideas, and it's wonderful, it's beautiful. After every devised theater session, friends are made, numbers are exchanged because they want to keep that going. They make a connection, an authentic connection.
That's amazing. It sounds like such a collaborative and kind of communal process. It sounds like a really so I know Isis, you're super familiar with Beyond Differences and the definitions terms that we use, but for folks who may not be as familiar, for us, the opposite of social isolation is connection. And so to I'm imagining these groups of students from across the county who have never met each other before coming together and kind of figuring out how to make that connection with these total strangers. And then I love the fact that it blossoms into these like real friendships and real heartfelt connections that are based on this commonality of this shared creative experience. It's such an awesome initiative.
I tell you, I leave on fire after every residency. I'm like, I come home and my husband's like, "You had a residency today, didn't you?" Geared up, and I'm like, "Yes," because now, again, the media will have you think that our young people are disengaged, are completely, out of touch, or completely. They paint a picture of young
Hmm.
people that isn't necessarily true. And so when you get an opportunity to be in the space and witness it, witness that magic being made, those connections, those sinews. And I will say this, social media and technology sometimes can be a barrier to communication. And so through storytelling and devised theater, we strip all of that away, and we give them the opportunity to really talk without the barrier of the phone or the technology in front of them. And you find this hesitancy to go
Mm.
back to that at the end of the
Mm.
experience, so it's beautiful.
Ah, that's wonderful. So our last question for you, again, our mission at Beyond Differences is to empower youth to end social isolation and create cultures of belonging. So how have you seen storytelling successfully used to create these cultures of belonging in community spaces and schools?
Yeah, absolutely. um I am a theater fanatic. And so I think theater can change the world. And the very basis of theater is storytelling, right? I'm going to share something with you that a young person said recently. I was emceeing a theater festival, and it was a round table discussion with several of the theater student leaders in the county. And he says, "Never stop being a theater kid. Never stop being weird, because theater kids and our weird ideas will change the world." And when I listened to those young people talk about how being able to not only be their authentic selves, but to tell their stories that for a lot of them, they don't read or they don't see in the media. They don't necessarily see themselves reflected in all the stories that they ingest or that they see. But when they talk about being able to tell their stories and be heard, the amount of confidence that it instills in them, the amount of connection that it instills in them, even if those stories are different. Again, speaking on that roundtable conversation, one of the young people was saying, even if I've never experienced what you've experienced, I've experienced being human, and I understand the feelings that you had from that. And so, and that empathy piece becomes tangible when we allow students to tell their stories in an authentic way, you know? So it not only connects and creates that culture of belonging, that we talk about and that we so desperately are wanting to see in every school, in every space, in every, not just schools, in communities, you know? Um, so it not only creates those connections, and I feel like a broken record here, but it also boosts that that confidence in I'm worthy, and I'm worthy, and you're worthy, and we're worthy, you know, and it just creates a beautiful experience.
It really sounds beautiful. I love I love listening to you talk about theater, weird geeky theater kids. Oh, Isis, thank you so much for your time. It has been all too brief. But as we wrap, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience, whether that's a final thought or if you have any upcoming events or sessions that you would like to invite the audience to? And also, how can the audience connect?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, very shortly, very quickly, I'll say, as far as final thoughts, for anyone and everyone who's listening, I'm going to encourage you to find a way to allow the young people in your lives to have the mic. So often as adults, we grab the mic and we want to keep it. You know, we talk at students, and you know, sometimes it's needed, but you learn so much more when you listen to them. So I'm going to encourage that. As far as what I have coming up, I do similar work with educators. And so if you would love to explore your story, your teaching story as a form of healing, as a form of empowerment, then you would love Right to Create. So I have a cohort coming up soon. You can, if you're interested in that, by all means, you can email me at Ayesis, Ayesis, at sculptedclayproductions.com, and I'll get that link to you. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Isis. We super appreciate your time. And it's always a pleasure to have you here with us at Beyond Differences. We love the work that you do. We're so grateful to have you as part of our community.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's lovely to be here. I love Beyond Differences.
Thank you, Isis. Have a good one. Take care of yourself.
You too.